Hi guys, welcome back to the Hall of Style, where I love to talk about, review, and recommend perfume and scented products. I'm Jen. Today I'm talking all about Alien Hypersense. This is the latest flanker in the long line of Mugler's Alien perfumes. And I recently did an unboxing video where I talked about this fragrance and 3 others. If you guys haven't caught that yet, I'll link to it up here somewhere and at the end of the video so you can check it out. Today I'm going a little bit more in depth about Alien Hypersense. I'm going to compare and contrast it with some other perfumes that I've seen it compared to, and also some of the other perfumes in the Alien line. So I always think it's kind of fun to compare and contrast all these different flankers that come out from various perfumes and see how they're like, see how they're different from the original. I also like to see when they say that they've added some notes or taken some notes away. It's like, you know, how it actually comes across. Like, do you really notice the notes that they're putting in, or, you know, just the overall feel of it? So I'm looking forward to checking this out and comparing it with others. Have any of you guys tried Alien Hypersense yet? It recently came out, so it's pretty new, but it's definitely been around long enough that I'm sure a few of you have given it a sniff. So let me know, drop me a comment down below. Let me know if you've tried it and whether you liked it or not. I've had a blast trying this a whole bunch the last couple of weeks, comparing it, contrasting it with other perfumes, so I could give you guys some input on what I think about how this compares and contrasts with the other Alien perfumes that I've tried and some of the other fragrances that have a lot of jasmine in it that maybe I think it might be similar to, or that other people have thought they think it is similar to. So here's a little bit more information on this fragrance. It was released this year in 2024. It is an EDP or eau de parfum formulation. It comes in 3 sizes and a refill. The 30 ml bottle, which is what I have here, retails for $95. The 60 ml retails for $150. The 90 ml retails for $185. And the refill is a 100 ml that retails for $142. So you save quite a bit of money by purchasing a refill versus getting a whole new bottle when you run out. So I think it's a really good deal. I love that Mugler is doing this, and it's very, you know, it's kind of better for the environment. And just in general, I think it's a better deal when you're done with this bottle to just be able to refill it with a refill, I think is a really smart way to go. So the nose is Master Perfumer Dominique Ropion, and the notes from Mugler's website are as follows. The opening has green mandarin essence and a juicy pear accord. The heart focuses on jasmine sambac absolute from India, and the dry down features cashmeran. The bottle, as you guys can see, is really beautiful. It has sort of a ruby red, sort of an ombre into this purple color. The original bottle is that dark purple, so I think this is a pretty cool version. It also has that sort of like claw look, like the alien claws kind of like holding it. I don't know if you guys can see that, but anyways, really beautiful bottle. I really like the way that this bottle turned out, and I think they did a good job, and I think that this color scheme really matches the perfume. So my impressions of this perfume, like I said, I really loved it. I thought it was great. I really like sort of the current popular sweet white floral fragrances that are so popular right now. A lot of times they have a lot of vanilla in them, some citrus, maybe like some orange blossom or some bergamot. And then they have this sort of like very sweet, musky jasmine sambac floral. There's a lot of perfumes that focus on that, and I really love that kind of a fragrance. If you think of like Donna Born and Roma, the original Donna Born and Roma, or maybe Prada Paradox, there's a lot of these perfumes that have come out within the last few years that have this sort of vibe, and I really love it. I would say the jasmine sambac is really the star of the show here. You really get it, as you would expect to really get the jasmine from the Alien line. You do get some fruitiness as well, you know, from the mandarin and the pear, but I feel like the overwhelming vibe is of the sweet jasmine sambac. It stays pretty linear for me throughout. You do get a touch of light woodsiness from the cashmeran and the dry down, but I really feel it's the jasmine sambac that's sort of running the show here. I've seen kind of mixed feelings about this fragrance. You know, a lot of people really love the original Alien and it's their baby, you know, it's their signature scent. They wear it every day. So some people have really thought, oh, this is too modern. I don't care for it. I think if you tend to like those fragrances that are a little bit older, a little bit more classic in feel, you might not like this as much as the original Alien. You may just want to stick with the original Alien, which is still available. So it's easy to get a hold of. But I really like this new interpretation. Again, I really like sweet fragrances. If you're kind of in my camp, where you tend to go more for the gourmands and perfumes that are really heavy on like a sweet vanilla, if you kind of like that interpretation better, then you're probably going to really like this. All right, so let's get on with the comparisons. So of course, the first perfume that I wanted to compare this to was the original Alien, which I have in this darling mini. Look how cute this is, you guys. If you guys caught my other video, you know that I love to collect minis. I think they're so adorable and so fun to collect. So this is yet another one in my collection. And it's really nice to have this little mini, because like I said, I do like the new interpretation, the Hypersense, a little bit better, but I do like this. I think this is a really tried and true classic. It's hard to not love this if you love jasmine, and the performance is incredible with this fragrance, you guys. It lasts forever. It's just like, it can really fill a room depending on how much you put on. So it's a really like good quality, strong, long lasting fragrance. So I wanted to give you guys just a little bit more information on the original Alien. So it was released in 2005, so it's been around for a while. It is also an eau de parfum concentration, and it comes in this really nice dark purple bottle, as you can see. The top note is jasmine sambac from India, so that's the same as the Hypersense. And then this time they have the cashmeran in the mid notes. They list it in the mid instead of in the base. And then the base is a white amber. And I think that really is what this original Alien is all about. It's so all about the jasmine, of course, but you also really get those ambery touches. So it has kind of a nice warmth to it. It's really just like a good go-to perfume for a lot of people. It's a little bit heady perhaps for work. I don't know if it might be a little bit like too much for work, because it is a very strong perfume, right? This can really fill a room. When I'm wearing this, thankfully I just have this little dabber. So a little goes a long way with this perfume. You know, you really don't need that much. If you are going somewhere outside or out for the night, then you can possibly like really spray it on, but everyone's gonna smell you. So the noses for this perfume are still Dominique Ropion, and then Laurent Bruyere also joined him in creating the original Alien. And this one, I would say, so for me, the comparison of the two is with the original, it's going to be a little bit more old school. It's not what I would call like super classic or anything, but it is a little bit more old school. It's a little bit more like kind of fresh and green, has a little bit more of kind of like a laundry fresh vibe to it. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if you told me there was a lily of the valley note in here too, along with the jasmine. It really has that like clean white floral feel that you get. I definitely think with Hypersense is for sure sweeter. It's maybe a little bit more musky. They're both musky. They both have that musky jasmine sambac, but I think maybe it's even a little bit muskier with the Hypersense. I do think that they become more similar as they dry down, and I do think that they both have great lasting power and great performance overall, but I did find even still that the OG, it did last longer. In the beginning, the Hypersense was projecting more, but the longer they dried down, I noticed that the OG was definitely the one that was like pulling ahead and becoming stronger, and it was the one that I noticed longer. So the next perfume that I compared Hypersense with was Alien Eau Sublime, which I have in this sample size. And this one came out in 2017. It is a bit lighter. It's an eau de toilette or an EDT formulation. The bottle on this one has sort of a white, kind of like creamy light yellow ombre effect, which I think matches well with the way that this perfume smells. The top notes are lemon, orange, mandarin, galbanum, and solar flowers. The mid notes are jasmine, cherry blossom, tiare flower, and heliotrope. And the base is cashmere, vetiver, and white amber. So it has some notes in common. It has the mandarin the same, and it has the jasmine, although it doesn't mention whether it's the jasmine sambac or the jasmine grandiflorum. So I'm not sure on that. And then it has the cashmere in the base, the same as Hypersense. The nose is also Dominique Ropion again. And this one is a little bit harder to get a hold of. It's been discontinued, and so it's kind of tricky to find, but I think it might still be at a couple of the discounters, so I'll link to that in the info box for you guys. So my comparison with these two, I would say that Eau Sublime is lighter and airier, which you would expect with that EDT formulation. I would call it less sweet, and it kind of has the most like laundry fresh clean vibe out of the Alien line as far as like the ones that I've tried. I think a lot of them have that to a certain extent, but for me, the Eau Sublime really had that. And I think it's probably the combination of all those citrus notes with that green galbanum just makes it feel like really fresh and clean. Almost pushing it into cleaner territory, but not quite. Like it's not quite like Lemon Pledge, but it does have that very sort of, it's a little bit more astringent, a little bit more clean. You'll notice that if you try this one. I would also say it has a slightly aquatic vibe to it. It's overall just like a really fresh, clean, like I would call this probably like a good fragrance for as the weather's getting hotter. So like a deep spring into a summer, you're gonna really notice on a hot day that these kind of lighter EDT fragrances with kind of that freshy, that citrus freshy vibe is gonna be very refreshing on a hot day. For me, I didn't really find these ones super similar. I do think the main thing they have in common is the jasmine, which is what's going to link most of the Alien fragrances with one another. But in general, I just found this one to be lighter, more citrus, more laundry clean. At some point, it got a little bit powdery for me too. I would call this maybe similar to like a dusty lemon drop. It was definitely quite different from the really sweet, heady, like super focused on this like musky, sweet jasmine sambac vibe that you get from Hypersense. And for me, the performance was better with the Hypersense, which would be totally expected with an eau de parfum, that deeper concentration, and has, more of the actual perfume oils in it than a lighter EDT concentration that's going to have more of like a watery feel to it. So next up is Alien Flora Futura, which I only have in a little sample. But this was another one that is a flanker. It came out in the end of January 2018. It is also an EDT, and it came in sort of a light pink colored bottle. The top note is Hand of Buddha accord, which is really interesting. The Hand of Buddha is sort of a citron type fruit that comes off of a tree and is really funky. It kind of looks like little fingers. It's really interesting. So they have that as the top note. It's supposed to be sort of fresh, crisp, and sparkly. The mid note is the Queen of the Night, also known as a night blooming cereus. And this type of flower, it blooms on a cactus, and it's sort of similar. It's sort of in a similar family with jasmine. It has that white floral kind of like heady type of a feel to it. So they've basically taken the jasmine out and replaced it with this night blooming cereus note. The base for this perfume is white amber and sandalwood. So this one actually has no identical notes to Hypersense. The notes, at least from what they're saying, in the official notes that are listed, it's completely different from Hypersense. The nose for this fragrance was again Dominique Ropion and also Jean-Christophe Hérault. I would call this fragrance again lighter and softer than Hypersense. You're getting a very soft and powdery feel with this one. I almost wouldn't be shocked if you told me maybe mimosa was in this fragrance or something else that's really like soft and powdery and feminine. It has that sort of a vibe to me. I would say this has a light sweetness to it. It's maybe a tiny bit sweeter than the original Alien, but not nearly as sweet as Hypersense. I would say that Flora Futura almost has a little bit more of a mature feel to it. Another note that I wouldn't be surprised if they had osmanthus in it. It sort of has that sort of dry, leathery, woody, peachy vibe that you get from osmanthus. This is a much more kind of subdued fragrance. Like this would be a good fragrance you could wear to the office and wear in close quarters with people. It's much more mellowed out than the original Alien or the Alien Hypersense. Is not as much of like a heady, kind of like sexy going out for the night vibe that I think you get from Hypersense. So it's a little bit more kind of daytime and mellow. So the next one in the line that I have tried and compared together is Alien Fusion. I have in a sample here you guys can see, and it came in a red bottle originally. This was released in 2019, and this is another one that is an EDP formulation, so a little bit of the heavier type of formulation as with the Hypersense and the original Alien, and less light and bright like the last two we talked about. This one has more of a spicy feel. The top notes are ginger and cinnamon. The mid notes are orange blossom, and it has tuberose in place of the usual jasmine that we find in the Alien line. The base is white amber, which is similar to the original Alien, and then it also has vanilla. So there are actually no notes that are listed that are exactly the same as Hypersense. So this one is definitely a bit of a departure. The noses are again Dominique Ropion, and this time he collaborated with Fanny Bal. And this one for me is kind of a cozy autumn type of a fragrance. It again has those really nice spices, and it has this sort of like sparkling, ambery, spicy kind of a vibe that I love and is perfect for autumn and winter. It just makes you feel kind of like cozy, and you're kind of thinking about those like holiday spices that you are, focusing on in the autumn and winter months. You're kind of like thinking of baking an apple pie or maybe making like a cider with a bunch of spices in it or something like that. It has more of that kind of a feel to me. I would say with Fusion overall, you're getting more of that sort of autumn vibe with the sort of sparkling amber versus with Hypersense. Hypersense almost feels like how the other ones felt more laundry clean compared to it. It feels more laundry clean compared to Fusion. So it's a little bit interesting. It's a little bit of a different vibe, kind of going in the opposite direction, more of like the cozy direction with like the spices and the amber and sort of those like heavier feels that you get with it. This is another fragrance that has been discontinued. I think pretty much all of the ones I've mentioned so far, except for the original Alien, have been discontinued. There are flankers that were kind of, out for a little bit and then they pulled them. But most of them I believe are available at discounter websites. So I'll link to that for you guys so you can check it out if you're interested in trying any of these. I think all of them are available at least in a sample so that you could give them a try. All right, guys, so next up we have the super popular Alien Goddess. I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with this fragrance. It is extremely popular, and it's quite a departure from the Alien line, in my opinion. So Alien's been out just a few years. It came out in 2021. It is an EDP or eau de parfum formulation and comes in a very light, kind of creamy yellow colored bottle. I think matches it really well. And this one is all about sort of the coconut vibe. The top notes for this one are Italian bergamot essence and coconut water accord. And the mid is a jasmine grandiflorum super infusion, which is a little bit different than the jasmine sambac that we're often seeing in the other Alien fragrances. You also get a heliotrope accord in the mid notes. The base is Madagascar Bourbon vanilla and Cashmeran wood, so it has that same sort of Cashmeran vibe. The noses for this perfume are Marie Salamagne and Nathalie Lorson. And this one is definitely a departure from the Alien line, as I said. This one is all about the coconut, you guys. This one is very summertime, beachy, like heavy duty on the coconut. It's a really good combination of the coconut with the vanilla. If you like that sort of like coconut sunscreen beachy vanilla vibe, which I love. If you love that as well, this is a must try in my opinion. It is so good if you love those kind of like sweet vanilla coconut fragrances. This is another one where when I was comparing them together, this one made Hypersense feel more laundry clean because this one was, I think, even sweeter. The vanilla is really ramped up in it, and the vanilla with that coconut just makes it really sweet in my opinion. It's so yummy. It's like complete summer vibes, makes you feel like you're on the beach with your coconut sunscreen. Maybe you're having some sort of like pina colada drink, whatever, you know, you're just kind of like enjoying yourself in the summertime on vacation. It really has those kind of vibes to me. So there were 3 other fragrances that I thought I would briefly touch on that I saw this fragrance compared to. And 2 of them were from YSL's Libre line. So I saw a few people mention that it was similar to Libre Intense, which I have in a lovely decant here from the Fragrance Decant Boutique. And then I also have Libre Le Parfum in a decant. And I noticed both of these were sort of talked about as having a similar vibe as Alien Hypersense. So I wanted to test that out for myself and see what I thought because I love the Libre line as well. It's also really good. It's more focused on lavender. So if you're at all familiar with it, it has a lovely lavender and vanilla combo that's just really refreshing, really great for everyday wear, like easy to wear to the office. It's in general just a really good line, really easy to wear and loved by a lot of women. So just to kind of shoot through these ones a little bit quicker, the top note from Libre Intense is lavender essence from France and mandarin essence and bergamot essence. So it shares the mandarin in common with Hypersense. The mid note is more lavender. You've got a Diva Lavender Heart, Jasmine Sambac Absolute, which is the same as Hypersense, and an Orange Blossom Absolute from Morocco. It also says that there is a Living Orchid Accord in the mid notes. The base has vanilla extract from Madagascar, vetiver essence, ambergris, and Tonka Absolute from Venezuela. So very interesting notes there. And this one to me, I felt like this intense Libre really was very strong with the lavender. To me, the lavender was overwhelmingly the like star of the show. It was really what was coming out, especially when, you know, compared, you know, one arm having this, one arm having the Hypersense. I really did notice this one, the lavender is very prominent. So I didn't find those two to be very similar. But I did find that the Le Parfum from Libre, I did think that those were a little bit more similar. And the funny thing about it too is that with the Le Parfum, the notes aren't even really that similar. I think it has a lot more notes in common with the Libre Intense, but I really felt like as far as like having one on each arm, it really smelled more similar to the Le Parfum to me. So the notes for Le Parfum, the top is bergamot, and again, you have the mandarin that's the same. It also has some spicy notes. It has saffron and ginger in the top. And then the mid notes are Orange Blossom Absolute from Morocco, French lavender and provincial lavender. And then the base is the bourbon vanilla again, tonka bean absolute, vetiver, and honey. And I will say that you really do feel those cozy notes with the Libre Le Parfum. To me, it almost smells like cookies baking. It is just so yummy. That vanilla is so good. And you also get the honey and you get the ginger and the saffron, making it just like a little bit spicy. And it's just really like sweet and yummy and almost like a delicious scent. Like it leans very gourmand for me. I love it. I I certainly wouldn't say that Hypersense and Libre Le Parfum are like identical twins or anything, but I do think they're in sort of a similar ballpark. I think if you liked one, you could definitely like the other, and they're also different enough that you could own both and, be happy about it. I do think that Libre Le Parfum is a little bit more golden in feel, if that makes sense, a little bit more ambery. There's something about it that's just like, I don't know, it's the edges feel a little bit more rounded, if that makes any sense at all. But I do love both of them. I think both of them smell really good, and I think it's hard to go wrong with either of these really, if you like that sweet white floral kind of a vibe. The last one that I thought it might be a little bit similar to is Donna Born and Roma. This is the original Donna Born and Roma, which I have in a lovely little travel spray here. And when I first sprayed on Hypersense, this was the first perfume that came to mind. I was like, ooh, that jasmine sambac is really similar to the jasmine sambac vibes that I get with Donna Born and Roma. So I wanted to compare and contrast the two of them. And I would say that again, kind of with the Le Parfum, that they have a similar vibe. Like, I think if you like one, you would like the other. They both really have that like super sweet, super yummy jasmine sambac with like this vanilla kind of a vibe. It's very sweet. It's very, modern. It's a very modern perfume that I think modern noses who tend to prefer like these sweeter fragrances are going to really enjoy. The notes for Donna Born and Roma, the top is black currant, essence of bergamot, and pink pepper. The mid is jasmine grandiflorum absolute, jasmine sambac absolute, and jasmine tea. And the base is bourbon vanilla, cashmeran, and gaiac wood essence. So they have the jasmine sambac in common, and they have the cashmeran in the dry down in common. And I do think they get a little bit more similar as they dry down. Although, again, I wouldn't say these are identical twins by any stretch. I do think you could own both of them and be happy. But I do think there's similarities. If you're someone who doesn't wear a lot of these kind of fragrances, they may seem like really, really similar to you. When I tried these together, I really kind of felt like Donna Born and Roma was almost cleaner. I really got the muskiness from Hypersense when I had the two of them like arm in arm next to each other. And I think, again, they have similarities, but there's definitely like a place for both. I think if you tend to a more muskier jasmine sambac, you're probably gonna wanna pull for the Hypersense more. If you want something that's like a little bit cleaner in feel, a little bit heavier on the vanilla, then I think you're gonna like the Donna Born and Roma. I also really get the pink pepper with the Donna Born and Roma. That's really, really noticeable here. So in general, I feel like there's a little bit more nuance kind of a feel with the Donna Born and Roma, whereas with the Hypersense, it's really focused on that jasmine sambac. It's really the star of the show. There's definitely like those small fruity touches, like I was saying, but this is really like, if you're a jasmine fan, I think this is really worth your while to try. Well, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for me today. I hope that this video is helpful for you. I hope that this helps you kind of see what the differences and similarities are between this new Alien Hypersense and some of the other flankers in the line and the original, and a couple of other perfumes that it does have sort of a similar vibe with. I hope this will help demystify it a little bit for you guys, and if you're kind of shopping around for a jasmine sambac fragrance or a jasmine fragrance in general, maybe this will give you some insight and help you, figure out what you want to try. As always, I highly recommend head on over to Macy's or get your hands on a sample or decant so you can try this fragrance first. Make sure that you like it, try it on your skin, wear it around, maybe try it a couple of days. I've had perfumes where I tried it one day, hated it, tried it the next day, loved it, and vice versa. It's really interesting. I think it's really worth trying perfume on your skin more than once to see how it really comes across for you and to see if it plays nice with your chemistry or not. Don't forget to head on over to my website, thehallofstyle.com. Check out all my mini perfume reviews, various hauls, all sorts of fun stuff over there. If you love perfume, you love scented items, check it out. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.